Hi everyone, welcome to my channel or welcome back to my channel. Today's video is all about tips and techniques on how to make your eyes look bigger and brighter and more wide awake. All right, so for me, I feel like I have a good eye and a bad eye, and my left eye is my bad eye because it is a little bit more downturned and it has a little bit more of a hood. And right now I have a red scar that is unfortunate that it actually makes my eye look even more downturned. All right, so for a challenge today, I'm gonna be working on my bad eye so you can see how my tips and techniques help lift my eyes and make them look a little bit more balanced. All right, so we're gonna be starting off with a little concoction today. This is the Catrice eye brightener, and it is a very light pink eye brightener, and I'm gonna mix it with a concealer, and this is the Bye Bye Under Eye Concealer in Light Buff. And this for sure was a really good find. I found it on Amazon for $7, and I will link everything that I'm using in the description. I would say definitely make sure this goes into your Amazon cart. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and mix the concealer and the Catrice Under Eye Brightener. I'm gonna work with my right hand because it's gonna be a little bit easier. I usually favor my other side, but since we're working on this side, I'm gonna do things a little backwards. All right, so give it a good little coat. Obviously, using your finger, you're gonna get more product pushed into the skin. And I just really love this Catrice Under Eye Brightener. You can layer it. You can put on your color corrector first and then your concealer. But I feel like sometimes layering too many products on your eyes can end up looking crepey and cause crevicing and crepiness. So I'm gonna go ahead and add it to my under eye as well. Now I'm really gonna focus on the inner corner, and I already kind of put some on the outer corner, but we're gonna put a little bit more. And we're gonna just kind of really push that into the skin again, and be patient with this. The more you can spend time pushing it into the skin with your fingers versus a brush, you're just gonna get a little bit more coverage, and it really, like I said, it will melt much better into your skin. And then drag leftovers down into here. And continue working that into the skin. All right, so next we're gonna be using the MAC Paint Pot in Painterly. I really love this color specifically because it also has a cool tone, which I feel like really does a good job of brightening. And this formula is just, it's really nice and it glides well and it doesn't accentuate the crepiness in your eyes. I'm gonna start by putting it in the inner corners. The inner corner, since we're only doing one, and then go ahead and pat another nice little coat, because this is actually an eyeshadow, not a primer. A lot of people do use it for a primer though, because it is a nice consistency and it allows your makeup to go on so much more smooth. And anytime you're working on the outer corner of your eye, just make sure you're just flicking up product or pushing up or sweeping up. Especially when working with darker colors, if you get some closer to the outer corner, it can definitely drag your eye down, which we're not working with right now. Just a little side note. Also too, I forgot to mention, get yourself some Lumify eye drops. This will brighten the whites of your eyes, and I did put some of these in right before I started the video. I probably should have just put it in the lefty, since that's the one we're working on. All right, we are working with this Naked 3 mini palette for our next little tip. I love this palette because it's really neutral. For me, I have neutral skin tones, so we want to choose a shade, and I'm gonna choose this one. We wanna choose a shade that has a natural shadow effect of what your skin would normally have, or just think of it as like a few shades darker than your natural skin tone. Something in the natural family and definitely matte. I'm gonna choose to use this Jenny Patakin. This is the small eyeshadow brush, and I'm going to dip in. And you know what? I'm gonna add just a smidge of this too. Gonna definitely tap off the excess. Now, what you're gonna do is you're going to want to look directly into the mirror. So hopefully I'm not going to get blurred out for this. I'll turn. So dust off the excess. Now, it's important to look directly into the mirror because if you start to open your eyes as you're putting your eyeshadow on, I want to go in right here. Let's say I did, and what? My hood now will cover that. And the goal for this is to give ourselves a new crease. So we're going to keep our eyes directly looking into the mirror because this is what people see when they look at you. All right, so we are going to go right above our crease and create some. I did put a little bit too much on my brush, and that's okay because we're gonna blend that out. But you see how I am just taking it back and forth, sweeping it. Nice kind of like rainbow shape motions. Removing any excess from my brush, and I'm gonna go back in and continue softening that line, creating some depth and giving the illusion of a new crease. Now you can go back in and continue adding a little bit more, which I'm going to for effects. I would probably normally leave it just like this. Very soft-handed. Make sure you're just picking up the lightest amount of product because you can always add more. It's just so much harder to take off. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and feather this out a little bit because since I took it down a little bit farther, it might accentuate my downturn. So that's not what we want either. Use your fingers to just softly blend anything out. And again, just because I do want to show you, you can add more as you go versus, overdoing it. I want to add just a little bit more for funsies. I'm being like so delicate right now. Another rule of thumb, this is with anything, the further you hold back your tool, the lighter handed you're going to be. So if you wanted to be more forceful, you would hold it a little bit up, but we don't want to be forceful. We want to be delicate and soft and really be very light-handed. All right, so I'm very happy with the way that looks. So we're going to move on to the next little tip and technique. For this next step, we want to choose a color that has a little bit of shimmer in it, that's lighter, that's going to be something that you might be terrified to use normally because shimmer can make your eyes look a little bit creepy, but since we're keeping it on the lower lid, you should not be scared of this. So I'm putting it on my index finger and I'm just going to stamp it on my lower lid very delicately as well. And this is going to give us some reflection to make our eyes look bigger. Now that's all I'm gonna do. You can go a little bit crazy if you want. Next, we're gonna be brave. We're gonna use this brown eyeliner and I am going to just create a little bit of depth just right in the middle, in the center of my upper lash line, keeping it as close to your upper lash line as possible. And I have this little tiny detail brush, which I'm going to use to smudge it in. And I am not taking it anywhere near to the outer corner, and I'm trying to keep it in the middle. What I'm trying to do is create a little bit more of a rounded eye. And this, it sets a little fast, so working with it in smaller sections is my advice to you. Or pick a shade, pick an eyeliner that doesn't set in so fast, maybe more of a smudgy one. All right, so see how just creating a little bit of roundness just in the center of my upper eyelid kind of opened up my eye, made it look a little bit bigger. We're gonna take the mid-tone shades that we used to create the upper crease, and we're going to create a new lower crease. But instead of wiggling it into our lower lash line, we are going to be going below that. Now, don't be scared of this step. You just want to be super light-handed as well. See how that gave me the illusion of having a bigger eye. Now, to make our eyes look even bigger, we're going to be using this flesh-colored eyeliner pencil. You're going to go in and put it in your waterline. This is the Gibson Girl Brow Light. Now drag it all the way into the inner corner. I'm going to flick it up. I'm actually going to go ahead and add a little bit extra to cover this scar. And this is super handy because you can use it to highlight your brow as well, which I'll show you. I'm dragging it up on the inner corner of my upper eyelid now. Okay, so for the brow bone, go ahead. For the brow bone, we're just gonna glide a little bit up underneath, just ever so slightly as an option. You don't have to do this. It's a nice detailer though. If you wanted to create more brightness, we're gonna move on to lashes. This is definitely not the last step, but curling your lashes is the easiest way to make your eyes look bigger and brighter and more wide awake. I mean, that alone gave me an uplifted look. We're gonna be using the MAC 3D Dimension Mascara, a good old favorite of mine. Always, always 2 coats. A little trick to keep your eyelashes from falling. Use an eyelash comb and a fan. Kind of comb them up or hold them up. All right, my God, alone, major difference, but we are not done yet. We are going to take this amazing ambient hourglass palette. It's so beautiful, and it is just quickly becoming one of my favorites. And what we're gonna use this for is we're gonna go in with a very small eyeshadow brush, and we're gonna choose this beautiful shade. This is the number 3, the lightest shade on this palette. And we're going to use it for the inner corners of our eyes. And now, if you've ever been terrified of using something light on the inner corners of your eyes, it's a shadow or whatever, this, I'm telling you, is just so pretty in here. It does not get crepey or anything, which I was super impressed with the very first time I used it. Now this is going to give us just a bigger eye, a bigger, brighter eye. Since we put mascara on the top with that MAC 3D, I'm not going to use this on my bottom lashes. I like to use something with a much smaller applicator. And this mascara is also a little bit lighter. And we're going to only put it on the tips of our lower lashes. You can get up in here in your little smaller lashes too. Give another coat, why not? Some fine tuning. Eyelashes can be so finicky, especially the harder you try. All right, lastly, we're gonna use this Clos de Peau eye corrector. And to me, it's in between a concealer and a corrector, kind of like how we blended our own together, but I use this for special occasions. I spent way too much money on it and I keep forgetting to use it because I'm like rationing it. But I'm gonna go ahead and use it today, just a little bit. We are going to just do one last sweep up. I'm gonna go ahead and rest my eye as well. This will give us even more of an upturn. You can do this with concealer as well. We don't want to forget to set that with a little bit of a very, very, very lightweight translucent powder. This is the Gibson Girl Translucent Setting Powder. All right, there you have my bigger, brighter eye. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you learned anything, share it with a friend. And do not forget to hit subscribe so you do not miss out on any more of my beauty tips. And I'll see you in the next one.